From California to Wakanda to Mississippi, the writer and director of the most Oscar nominated film of all times gets his turn today on Oscar Rewind. Today, I am looking at the Weinstein Company's Fruitvale Station. Written and directed by Ryan Coogler, this powerful debut film released in the summer of 2013 after premiering at the Sundance Film Festival. What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is season 3 of Oscar Rewind, where I look back at the films of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these throwbacks. We're just getting started. There's some really good ones coming down the pipe that I am so excited to talk about. Today is the final episode of Chapter 1, Before the Oscar, where I have explored the early work of this year's biggest winners: picture, director, acting, writing, and closing it out, we have the debut film of this year's Best Original Screenplay winner, Ryan Coogler, who took that prize home for Sinners. If you've never seen Fruitvale Station, here is the very quick, spoiler-free setup. On New Year's Eve, 2008, Oscar Grant III, played by Michael B. Jordan, is trying to reset his life. An ex-con at a crossroads, he wants to be a better partner, a better son, and most importantly, a better father to his daughter Tatiana, played by Ariana Neal, and leave the criminal past behind. Planning on this day to celebrate his mother Wanda's birthday, Wanda played by the always wonderful Octavia Spencer, Oscar spends the day preparing for the party and revisiting some life choices before heading to have the family dinner for his mother, and then heading into San Francisco with his girlfriend Sofina, played by Melanie Diaz, and some of their friends to ring in the new year. But what begins as a hopeful, ordinary day slowly builds towards something much heavier, shaped by past events, personal choices, and the world around Oscar. It's hard to say much more without giving away the full impact and the way this story plays out, but even if you know the real life events behind this film, it still remains incredibly gripping. For a feature debut, Coogler, he really shows remarkable control. He keeps the story simple and grounded, following Oscar through this single day, allowing the weight of the narrative to build naturally. And that approach makes the performances feel even more immediate. Jordan, the second time I'm talking about him this season, we talked Chronicle. Here he delivers a deeply human performance, flawed, conflicted, but undeniably present. Spencer brings such a grounded emotional core, especially in the moments that the two share. They quietly carry so much weight that it's almost painful to watch at times. Visually, the film leans into a cinema verite style. Cinematographer Rachel Morrison captures the day-to-day reality in a way that feels documentary-like, which works incredibly well given the subject matter. And Coogler's choice to frame the story with real footage on both ends adds an unease that lingers throughout the film. And as always, like many Coogler films, Ludwig Göransson's score is subtle but effective, especially as the tension builds in the final act of this film. Here's what I'll say. At 85 minutes, this film is tight, but there are moments where certain story threads feel either slightly underdeveloped or unnecessary. I think some of the underdeveloped ones were a little bit more juice to the story that I would have liked to see a little bit more. I was tempted to really pinpoint which ones I thought we needed more of and which ones we didn't, but I feel like it's going to land differently for people, so I don't want to spoil that for you, especially if this is one you haven't seen or really processed in a while. But if we had gone a little bit more deeper in some underdeveloped areas, particularly some of the ones with... I'm not going to say that. I think that's what would have strengthened this narrative. But here's what I have to say. Regardless, what Coogler accomplishes here is incredibly impressive for a debut film, and I am very easily happy to, ignore a few narrative hiccups for what's accomplished. As far as box office and awards, Fruitvale Station made $16,101,339 domestically, $1,284,491 internationally, giving it a worldwide take of $17,385,830. Critically, the film currently sits with a 94% on the tomato meter from 212 reviews and an 87% popcorn meter from over 25,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, some highlights: this film had 3 dozen wins and almost 5 dozen additional nods to the 36 wins. Some of the highlights: the National Board of Review named Fruitvale Station one of the top 10 films of the year, and also awarded Jordan with Breakthrough Performance for Actor, Best Supporting Actress for Spencer, and Best Directorial Debut for Coogler. At Sundance, it won the Audience Award and the Grand Jury Prize for Dramatic Film. It won the Best Directing and Breakthrough Actors Awards for Coogler and Jordan at the Gotham Awards, and it also had an Audience Award nod from Gotham. Jordan was nominated for Best Male Lead, Diaz was nominated for Best Supporting Female, and a win for Coogler for Best First Feature. Those were the 3 that came from the Independent Spirit Awards. So this film made its stamp when it came out. Look, it's a powerful film. Fruitvale Station, it's 4 stars. Now, to watch or rewatch this one, as of this recording and posting, I'm sorry, no streaming options, but you can rent or purchase it digitally. And that's it for episode 8 of season 3 of Oscar Rewind and the end of chapter 1. But just because the chapter is over doesn't mean we're closing the book yet. If you enjoyed this episode and want to catch chapter 2 from the jump this coming Friday, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments. Do you think films like this are more powerful when they focus on one day? Or would you want to see more of a full story? Please follow me on all social media platforms and Letterboxd, and check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for even more cinematic content. I'll see you for the next rewind, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.